Beautiful people. Before we get into this episode, let's let the beat play a little bit. Kind of set up the vibes for today's message. Not going to be too long of an episode, just something that's been on my mind a little bit throughout the week. Something I mentioned in the last episode. And that is being consistent with intention. Consistent with intention. You know, I think we live in a day and age where when we talk about consistency, I think a lot of times we think of doing the same thing every single day. And there's kind of this hint of perfectionism behind it, right? Almost as if you're not doing the same thing every day, waking up at the same time, doing the same exact habits, living the exact same way every day, then you're not growing. You're not being consistent. But I'm here today to offer a different perspective, a new approach to how we view consistency. And that's where the theme and idea of being consistent with intention comes in. When I stumbled across this idea, it really helped to ground me on my journey. No, it's not about doing the same things every day and being perfect. It's about waking up every day and being consistent with the intention that you are setting for that day. What is the intention? That can look different depending on who you are in your own unique journey. But a very universal intention that I feel like we all can set is, today, I want to make decisions that reflect the love I have for myself. That's a very universal intention we can lead into the day with. But this is where you tap into your own unique journey and figure out, what do you really want to be intentional with? Right? What intention do you want to take into the day? Because remember this, intention drives direction. So whatever intention you set for the day, that's what's going to give you direction for the day. And we need that direction to keep moving at the right pace, taking the right steps. But a lot of people either live unintentionally to where now they're being taken in a multitude of different ways. So many things throughout their day is taking their awareness, taking their attention, taking their energy, taking their peace, because they're not living with intention. Right? Or you're not setting an intention that's actually aligned with who you are and the life that you're trying to cultivate. And this is the importance of mindfulness and awareness. We need to cultivate awareness of our lives and then set intentions that align with who we are and the life that we're trying to cultivate. And whatever that is for you, you have to figure that out. Whatever that is for you. Maybe today the intention is, I want to prioritize what I'm putting in my body. Right? Because I have a goal, I have a vision of being a more healthier and fit version of myself. So today I'm going to set the intention to really prioritize what I'm feeding into my vehicle. Maybe I'm trying to cultivate a more positive outlook on life, a more positive mindset. So I'm going to set the intention today to be mindful of when I see myself falling into pessimism or having a limiting mindset or perspective. And I'm going to be intentional with shifting in those moments to a more positive outlook on life, to a more positive lens, a more positive aligned perspective. Intention. Maybe the intention for today is, I want to be incredibly intentional with protecting my peace. So I'm going to be mindful of the conversations that I'm engaging in. I'm going to be mindful of being around certain people, whether it's at work, school, whatever it may be. I'm going to be mindful of what I'm consuming, because I know that what I consume, I become. So I want to make sure that I'm consuming things that align with the highest version of me and don't take me away from that, right? Intention. And this is the importance of being consistent with intention. No, you're not always going to make the right decisions. You're not always going to do the most aligned actions. And that's okay, because this journey is not about being perfect. But if you can wake up every single day and be consistent with intention, that in itself will continue to move you in the direction that aligns with the highest version of yourself. So set that as a reminder, right? I need to be consistent with intention. No, I'm not always going to be consistent with my habits. No, I'm not always going to be consistent with my mindset and perspective. But I can be consistent with my intention every day. And with that intention, while cultivating awareness, I can always catch myself when maybe I'm falling off the path or I'm moving in a direction that doesn't align, and I can bring myself back to that intention. So every day, we're going to be consistent with intention, because that's a lot more manageable, right? You weren't put here to be perfect. It is not in the manual of life for you to get everything right, for you to do everything perfect. So let's let go of that societal construct, that conditioning and programming, and let's root ourselves in the truth of what being a human being actually is. That means you're going to make mistakes. Being a human being means you're going to mess up. Sometimes you're not always going to have the aligned perspective. Sometimes your mindset isn't always going to be the best. But it's not about those times that define you. It's how you respond to those times. So when we set intention for the day and we live with awareness, we can start to pick up on the moments where we do mess up, we do fall down, we do fall short, we do give in to certain limiting thoughts or emotions. And in those moments, with awareness and intention, we can bring ourselves back. This is also the importance of having grace for yourself, right? Understanding you're not going to be perfect. You're not going to get everything right all the time. You could start to implement grace into your life. Now, I have an episode called Graceful Accountability. If you haven't tapped in, go tap in. But we want to give ourselves grace. Yes, we want to give ourselves grace with accountability, because we don't want to just be making excuses for ourselves, right? But at the same time, we understand that we're not perfect and we will make mistakes. So we find this beautiful harmony, this beautiful balance of giving ourselves grace while holding ourselves accountable. And it all comes back to the relationship you've cultivated and developed with yourself, right? When you have a healthy relationship with somebody in your life, you guys can hold each other accountable, because you know that when they're holding you accountable or telling you something you need to hear, it's coming from a place of love, because you know this person, and vice versa. But if somebody randomly off the street just try to tell you what you should be doing, how to live your life, and where you're messing up, you're not going to give them time of day, because there's no relationship built. You don't know them. They don't know you. There's no respect there, right? So you have to take that same framework and apply it to yourself. As you cultivate the relationship with yourself, you get to know yourself. You start to become more grounded and connected. That's where you'll be able to really embody graceful accountability. Giving myself grace, because I know that I'm not perfect and I love myself, while also holding myself accountable without it turning to self-judgment, without it turning to beating myself down. So we're going to be intentional, right? We're going to be consistent with intention, and we're going to take that into every single day. We're going to take that into every single day. I left my tea on the other desk, and it's out of reach, but it's okay. It is okay, because we have some good lo-fi music playing, and we're vibing out, right? Make sure that you're filling your spirit. Make sure that you're filling your cup. Get your grains in, whatever your grains are for you, the things that keep you grounded, aligned, and in tune. One of my grains is music. Sometimes you have to hit play and turn up the volume and just vibe out. Sometimes that's what we have to do, right? Just vibe out. Vibe out. So, whenever you're listening to this, wherever you're listening to this, I love you. I appreciate you. Remember to be consistent with intention. And most importantly, continue to take everything with a grain of salt. I will see you guys in the next episode. Deuces.